There's something deeply freeing that happens when you stop trying to meet the world's deadlines and start honoring your own rhythm. Because when you live in alignment with yourself, everything changes. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop comparing and start creating. You begin to realize that peace isn't found in reaching the next milestone, it's found in being present with where you are. You've been taught that success has an age, that opportunity has an expiration date, that growth has a window. But it's all a lie. Oprah didn't become Oprah in her 20s. Vera Wang didn't design her first dress until she was 40. Colonel Sanders didn't start KFC until his 60s. They didn't run out of time. They used the time they had differently. And that's the shift you need to make. It's not about being the fastest to arrive. It's about being the most awake when you do. Because if you rush to get there without growing into the person you're meant to be, you won't be ready when your moment comes. You can't rush maturity. You can't skip the lessons. You can't bypass the becoming. The waiting, the failing, the detours, they're all part of your preparation. I know what it feels like to wake up and think, everyone is ahead of me. To scroll through someone's feed and feel a pit in your stomach. But here's the truth that sets you free. There's no finish line. There's just the next step. You're not falling behind. You're just walking your own road. And maybe it's not glamorous yet. Maybe it's not Instagram worthy, but it's yours. And that makes it priceless. You've got to stop living like life is slipping away from you. It's not. Life is patient. It's waiting for you to notice it. Every day you wake up, you get another chance to move closer to who you want to be. It doesn't matter if you've fallen, if you've failed, if you've paused. What matters is that you start again. You can't control how fast things happen, but you can control how present you are in the process. You can choose to show up, to learn, to grow, even when progress feels invisible. That's the kind of consistency that rewrites your life. And I want to tell you something. You're not supposed to have it all figured out. The pressure to know your path by a certain age is toxic. Most people who claim they have it all together are still figuring it out behind closed doors. The difference is they've stopped letting the fear of being behind stop them from moving forward. You're allowed to change directions. You're allowed to reinvent yourself. You're allowed to pause, to breathe, to take a break from the noise and reconnect with what really matters to you. That's not falling off track. That's realignment. You can't find your next chapter if you're too busy clinging to an old one that doesn't fit anymore. Think about this. You're not a robot built to follow a programmed timeline. You're a human being with emotions, seasons, and cycles. There will be moments when you bloom fast and others when it feels like nothing's growing at all. But even in those still seasons, your roots are strengthening. That's what prepares you for what's next. I've met people who found purpose after heartbreak, who built success after bankruptcy, who found love after divorce, who started over after 50. They all have one thing in common. They stopped comparing timelines. They decided their story wasn't over just because it didn't look like someone else's. So maybe your story is still unfolding. Maybe you've been planting seeds that no one can see yet. That's okay. The harvest always comes later. Right now, your job is to keep showing up for yourself. Keep watering your dreams even when they look like dry soil. Keep trusting your pace even when it's slower than you want it to be. There's no shame in being a late bloomer. In fact, late bloomers often grow the strongest because their roots run deep. They've endured, they've learned, they've built character. They know how to appreciate the sunlight when it finally comes. Don't let the illusion of behind rob you of gratitude for what's in front of you. Every small win, every quiet breakthrough, every moment you choose not to give up, that's success. It may not be loud, but it's real. And it's shaping you into the kind of person who can handle the life you've been praying for. Here's something Mel Robbins always says: motivation doesn't come first, action does. You don't wait until you feel ready. You take one small step, even when your fear tells you not to, because movement builds momentum, and momentum changes everything. Stop waiting for the perfect moment to begin. Start now, right where you are with what you have. The people you admire didn't get there because they had more time or better luck. They got there because they decided to move, even when it was messy, even when it was scary. Every day you hesitate because you think you're behind, you're reinforcing the lie that you're not enough. But the truth, you're already enough. You're already capable. You're already in motion, even if it doesn't feel like it. Your journey is not delayed, it's being designed. Every closed door is protecting you from what's not ready for you yet. Every pause is preparing you for what's coming next. You don't need to chase timing. Timing is aligning with you. There's a quiet kind of power that comes when you stop running and start trusting. You become grounded. You stop being frantic. You start to see your life not as something to rush through, but something to experience. And that's where peace lives, in the acceptance of your own pace. You owe it to yourself to stop saying, I'm behind. Replace it with, I'm building, because that's what you're doing. Every day you show up and keep going, even when no one sees it, you're building something that lasts longer than quick success ever could. Look, I get it. You want the result, you want the recognition, you want the relief. But let me tell you something, when you rush, you rob yourself of depth, you miss the lessons, you skip the wisdom that only struggle can teach you. The slow path isn't punishment, it's protection. It's shaping you into someone who won't just reach the destination, but who will stay there once they do. You're not behind, you're being built. You're being stretched. You're being prepared for something greater than what impatience can handle. So, take a breath. This is your life, your timeline, your rhythm. You don't have to catch up to anyone. You just have to keep showing up for yourself. The truth is, no one really has it all figured out. We're all learning, all stumbling forward, all adjusting our plans. The only difference between those who change their lives and those who don't is this: one group decides to start, and the other keeps waiting for permission. Stop waiting. The right time isn't coming. You make it right by starting now, by believing that your pace is enough, that your story still matters, that the version of you you're becoming deserves time to grow. So don't rush. Don't panic. Don't let anyone convince you you're behind. You are right on time, because you are the one writing this story, not the world. You can't be late to your own life. You can only be present for it. And that's exactly where your power is. You're not behind. I want you to hear that, not just with your ears, but deep in your bones. Because somewhere along the way, we've been trained to believe that life is a race, that success has a timeline, and that if you're not married, not rich, not promoted, not there yet by a certain age, you're failing. But that's not truth. That's conditioning. That's the noise of a world obsessed with speed and comparison. And if you let that noise run your life, you'll spend every day chasing someone else's timeline instead of building your own. We grow up believing that life moves in predictable stages: graduate, get the job, find the partner, buy the house, raise the family. But reality doesn't care about your timeline. Life happens in chapters, not checklists. Some chapters are fast and full of joy. Others are messy and painfully slow. And that's okay, because every chapter still counts. You're not late to your life. You're right on time for your story. You see, the illusion of being behind comes from one thing: comparison. It's the thief of peace. The moment you scroll through social media and see someone else's highlight reel, that voice in your head whispers, you should be there by now. But here's the truth. No one posts their doubts, their breakdowns, their failures. You're comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's final cut. And that's not fair to you. You're not behind just because your life doesn't look like theirs. You're behind because your path took longer, or because you had to start over. Every step, every detour, every setback, it's building something that's yours. And maybe the reason you feel behind is because you're measuring your worth by someone else's watch. But your clock runs differently. Your timing is divine. You can't rush the process that's meant to grow you. I've been there too, staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m., thinking I missed my shot. Watching people younger than me succeed faster, wondering if I wasted too much time, made too many mistakes. But I learned something: life doesn't reward the fastest, it rewards the most persistent. The ones who keep showing up even when it feels like everyone else is miles ahead. There's no finish line in personal growth. There's no too late when it comes to becoming who you were meant to be. Change doesn't follow a calendar. It follows commitment. And you can start at any point. You can rebuild at 20, at 40, at 60, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you decide your life is still worth changing. You've got to stop treating yourself like a failure just because your timing doesn't match the world's timeline. Some people find love early, others find purpose late. Some lose everything and rebuild stronger. That's not falling behind, that's living. And sometimes being off schedule is exactly what saves you, because those pauses, those redirections, they're where your growth actually happens. You're not behind because you're still figuring it out. You're not behind because it's taking longer. You're not behind because life didn't unfold like the plan. You're learning, you're healing, you're evolving. That's progress, even if the world doesn't clap for it. Let me tell you something powerful. Every single thing that's delayed in your life is preparing you. Every closed door, every not yet, every detour, it's building strength, patience, and clarity inside you. You think you're waiting, but really you're becoming. The universe doesn't withhold what's meant for you. It waits until you're ready to hold it. So stop saying, I should be further along. Start saying, I'm right where I need to be. Because when you believe that, you stop rushing through life like it's a checklist and start living it like it's a journey. Do you know what kills dreams? It's not failure. It's the belief that it's too late to try. That's the lie that stops people from changing. They convince themselves that time has passed them by. But the truth is, time is still yours. As long as you're breathing, it's not over. There's something powerful that happens when you stop fighting the clock and start trusting your timing. You become calmer. You become focused. You start seeing opportunities that were invisible when you were panicking. Because desperation blinds you, patience opens you. We live in a world that glorifies speed, fast results, overnight success, instant change. But that's not real growth. Real change is slow, deliberate, and often uncomfortable. It's waking up every day and doing one small thing differently. It's believing in yourself even when there's no evidence you should. It's understanding that the timeline you've built in your head is not law. It's just fear wearing a calendar. Stop saying you're behind. You're not behind, you're becoming. You're doing the invisible work that no one sees. The emotional labor, the late night self-talk, the choice to keep going when no one's clapping. That's the work that changes your life. Some of the most successful, fulfilled people in the world didn't make it when they were supposed to. They made it when they were ready. And that's the difference. The right moment isn't when the world says, go. It's when your heart says, I'm ready. Maybe right now you're in a season of waiting. You're not sure what's next, and that uncertainty feels heavy. But here's what I've learned: waiting doesn't mean wasting. Sometimes that waiting is the space where your strength is built. You can't see it yet, but the version of you that will step out of this season will thank you for not giving up. Stop apologizing for where you are. Stop explaining why you're not there yet. You don't owe anyone a timeline. You owe yourself peace. You owe yourself the patience to grow at your own pace. When you stop measuring your progress by someone else's speed, you start seeing how far you've actually come. And you'll realize you've been making progress all along. It just didn't look like the kind the world celebrates. But real progress rarely does. Real progress is quiet. It happens in the moments when no one's watching. I want you to take a second and breathe. Think about how far you've come, not how far you have to go. Think about the storms you've survived, the lessons you've learned, the strength you've built. You're still trying. That's not falling behind. That's winning. So many of us spend our lives feeling late to something, late to success, late to love, late to happiness. But who decided what on time even means? We made it up. And the moment you realize that you're free to live on your own schedule, free to change when you're ready, free to stop chasing timelines and start creating your own rhythm. You can rebuild your life at any age, at any stage. You can wake up tomorrow and decide, I'm done rushing. I'm ready to grow. That's your power. That's your freedom. You don't have to catch up. You just have to show up. And when you do, everything starts to shift. Because the moment you stop fighting your pace, you align with your power. You stop asking, why not me? And start saying, still me. You stop waiting for permission and start creating your own green lights. You are not late. You are learning. You are not behind. You are becoming. Life is not a race, it's a rhythm. Find yours. Trust to live it fully. There comes a point when you stop chasing the idea of being caught up and start realizing that life is not linear. It's not a straight line. It's messy, unpredictable, and beautifully uneven. And that's exactly what makes it worth living. The moments you think are detours are actually directions. The moments you call mistakes are really lessons in disguise. Every delay, every failure, every time something didn't work out the way you planned, it's redirecting toward the life that's meant for you. When you think about being behind, ask yourself, behind compared to what? Compared to who? Compared to a story someone else is telling about their life. The truth is, most people are wearing masks. You see their smiles, their success, their filtered happiness, but you don't see the nights they cried themselves to sleep. You don't see the fear, the loneliness, the moments they questioned if they'd ever make it. Everyone's fighting something you can't see. So stop using someone else's chapter as the measure of your own progress. You have no idea how far you've already come. You've survived moments you thought would break you. You've healed from things that once defined you. You've learned, adapted, evolved. You've done more growing in silence than most do in the spotlight. And still, you tell yourself you're not enough. No, you are more than enough. You are the product of every hard day you didn't give up on. Here's what people don't tell you. There's no such thing as behind. There's only becoming. The only real deadline is the one you put on yourself. The only real finish line is the one you imagine in your mind. But the moment you let go of that race, life starts to open up. You start to feel lighter because you realize you were never supposed to run someone else's marathon. You were meant to walk your own path with intention. And I know it's hard. I know it's easy to get discouraged when you see others moving faster, but speed means nothing if it's not aligned with your purpose. Some people are sprinting toward things that don't even fulfill them. They look successful, but they feel empty. Meanwhile, you're moving slower, but you're building something that's real, something that will last. That's not being behind, that's being deliberate. There's this thing that happens when you stop rushing. You start hearing yourself again. You start feeling grounded. You start noticing the things that actually matter, the small wins, the quiet mornings, the moments that make you feel alive. When you slow down enough to be present, life stops being something to conquer and starts being something to experience. I want you to imagine something right now. Imagine you're on a mountain trail. Ahead of you, people are climbing faster, taking shorter routes, shouting from the top. You look at them and think, I should be there too. But what you can't see is that your path wins differently. It goes deeper into the forest, through valleys, across rivers. It takes longer, yes, but it's building endurance, strength, and wisdom. When you finally reach your peak, you'll understand why it had to take that long. You'll realize that every step was preparing you for the view you're about to see. You are not behind, you are in training. You are developing muscles that fast climbers never get. You are learning patience, faith, and resilience. And those are the traits that sustain success when you finally arrive. Quick victories fade, deep growth lasts. Let's talk about comparison again, because it's one of the biggest thieves of joy. The moment you start comparing, you stop appreciating. You stop noticing the good in your life because you're too busy measuring it against someone else's. You don't need to be the best version of them. You need to be the best version of you. And that takes time. Real growth is slow, it's quiet, it's invisible until it isn't. One day you'll look back and realize how much you've changed. You'll see that all the waiting, all the slow seasons, all the moments you thought were wasted, they were actually sacred. You were learning things that couldn't be taught any other way. You were becoming the person who could finally handle what you've been asking for. So the next time you feel behind, stop, take a breath. Remind yourself that you're not lost, you're just in progress. You're in the middle of a transformation that doesn't have a deadline. Life doesn't demand you to be perfect. It asks you to be present. You can't fail at your own pace. You can only learn. You can only evolve. Sometimes the best thing you can do is slow down long enough to hear what your heart has been trying to tell you. You've been so focused on catching up that you forgot to check in. You forgot to ask yourself, do I even want what I'm chasing? Because maybe you don't. Maybe the thing you think you're behind on isn't even yours to begin with. Maybe you're not late. You're just waking up. And that's okay. Waking up late is still waking up. Realizing later is still realizing. Changing direction halfway is still progress. It takes courage to stop running. It takes strength to start over. But every time you choose authenticity over approval, peace over pressure, alignment over achievement, you get closer to your true self. You are not defined by how fast you move. You're defined by how true you stay to yourself while moving, because it's easy to rush and perform and pretend. But it's brave to pause and reflect and choose differently. Stop letting urgency trick you into forgetting your worth. Stop letting pressure convince you that you're not doing enough. You are doing enough. You are enough. You are still becoming, and that's a beautiful place to be. There will always be people who seem ahead of you. Let them go. Their timeline isn't your timeline. Their lessons aren't your lessons. Focus on your own lane, because when you do, peace finds you. Every single day you wake up and keep trying, that's progress. Every time you choose not to quit, that's winning. Every moment you learn instead of comparing, that's transformation. You're not running out of time. You're running into it. You still have dreams to live, love to give, stories to write. You still have strength that hasn't been tested, gifts that haven't been discovered. You still have time, beautiful, messy, sacred time, to become everything you were meant to be. So stop saying you're behind. You're not behind. You're beginning again. You're building momentum. You're creating something at your own pace, and that's something to be proud of. One day, all of this will make sense. The delays, the doubts, the detours, they'll all connect. You'll see that you were never off track. You were on a path that only looked different because it was meant for you. You are not late to your purpose. You're right on time for your growth. The world doesn't need you to rush. It needs you to rise, slowly, intentionally, authentically. So take your time. Build your life with patience. Love yourself through every chapter. You're not missing out. You're catching up with your soul. Because when you finally stop racing time, you meet yourself. And that's where everything changes. You're not behind. You're right where you're supposed to be.